Most men think leverage is power. It's not. It's compensation. When a man constantly uses leverage, money, status, attention, silence, withdrawal, he's not powerful. He's emotional. And he's afraid. The uncomfortable truth? The more a man needs leverage, the less control he actually has. Let's break this down. Young men today are confused about power. They think power means control. Control over women, control over social dynamics, control over outcomes. So what do? They use leverage. I'll reply late. I'll show I have options. I'll post better pictures. I'll make her jealous. I'll act cold. That's not strength. That's emotional management disguised as strategy. And here's the irony. If you truly had power, you wouldn't need to prove it. Look at the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire. Armies obeyed him. Yet his private writings show something deeper. He didn't obsess over manipulating others. He obsessed over mastering himself. That's the difference. Emotional men try to move the world. Strong men move themselves. Psychological explanation. So why do emotional men use leverage? Because leverage feels like control, and control reduces anxiety. When a man feels fear of abandonment, fear of disrespect, fear of losing status, fear of being replaced, his nervous system activates. Fight or flight. But modern men don't fight lions. They fight uncertainty. So they grab tools: money, attention, sexual access, social proof, silence, all forms of leverage. But underneath, attachment, ego, validation hunger. When your self-worth depends on how someone reacts to you, you will use leverage to force the reaction you want. That's not power. That's dependency with better marketing. This is what Friedrich Nietzsche warned about. He spoke about reactive men. Men who do not act from strength, but react from insecurity. They don't create value. They respond to perceived threats. Leverage becomes a shield for fragile identity. Real-world example. Let's make this modern. You're talking to a girl. She replies slow. Instead of staying calm, you think, okay, I'll show her I'm busy. You post a gym story. You show other girls. You reduce replies. You manufacture scarcity. You call it strategy. But internally, you're checking if she watched the story. You're waiting for her reaction. You're emotionally invested in the outcome. That's not leverage. That's emotional dependence disguised as dominance. True leverage is when you don't need the result. If she leaves, you're fine. If she stays, you're fine. Most men cannot say that honestly, and that's why they use tactics. Philosophical reinforcement Seneca wrote about emotional slavery. Not slavery to people, slavery to impulses. If someone can disturb your inner state, they own you. And here's where it gets deeper. Friedrich Nietzsche also spoke about will to power. But real power wasn't manipulation. It was self-overcoming. Becoming so internally stable that you don't bend your behavior to provoke reactions. Even Marcus Aurelius, at the height of political chaos, reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Notice something. All powerful thinkers focus inward. Emotional men focus outward. Leverage is an outward tactic. Mastery is an inward discipline. Solution framework. So what do you do instead? Here's the framework. Audit your triggers. When do you feel the urge to use leverage? When ignored, when compared, when challenged, write it down. Patterns reveal insecurity. And insecurity reveals where you need internal work. Delay reaction. When emotionally activated, do nothing, not silence as a tactic. Silence as self-regulation. Give your nervous system time to stabilize. Power is response control, not response speed. Build non-relational value. If your only identity is romantic validation, you will cling. Build skill, income competence, physical strength, intellectual clarity. When your life is genuinely full, leverage becomes unnecessary. Because you're not negotiating from scarcity, remove outcome dependency. Ask yourself, if this person disappears tomorrow, am I still stable? If the answer is no, that's your real work. Detachment is not coldness. It's emotional sovereignty. Practice internal dominance. Every day, do something uncomfortable voluntarily. Cold showers, hard training, difficult study sessions. Why? Because voluntary discomfort builds nervous system resilience. Resilient men don't reach for leverage. They remain steady. Strong closing. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. If you need leverage to feel powerful, you're not powerful. You're negotiating from fear. Real power is indifference to outcomes. Calm under disrespect, stable under uncertainty, unmoved by delayed replies. When you stop trying to control reactions, you start controlling yourself. And the man who controls himself needs no leverage at all.